Imagine waking up every day knowing exactly where your time is going. No wasted moments, no distractions stealing your energy. What if I told you that mastering how you spend your time isn't just about being busy, but about unlocking the door to success you've been chasing? Today I'm going to share life-changing advice that will transform the way you think about time forever. Because when you learn to spend your time wisely, success isn't just a dream. It becomes your reality. You know, one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn on your journey to success is this: time is more valuable than money. You can always get more money, but you can't get more time. Once it's gone, it's gone. And the people who understand this, truly understand it, are the ones who get ahead in life. They don't waste time, they invest it. Now that doesn't mean every minute needs to be filled with hustle. It means you need to be intentional. You need to be clear about what matters most to you, because if you're not careful, the world will try to schedule your life for you. The television will try to claim your evenings. Social media will try to eat up your mornings. Other people's emergencies will become your distractions. Before you know it, years go by, and you're left wondering where the time went and why. The success you dreamed of is still out of reach. Spending your time wisely starts with knowing your values and your goals. If you don't have a clear target, how can you hit anything? You'll end up working hard, staying busy, but not making progress. And success isn't about how busy you are. It's about how effective you are. It's about how much of your time is aligned with what actually moves you forward. That's the secret. It's not just hard work, it's focused, directed effort. That's where the change begins. You've got to ask yourself, what am I doing today that's bringing me closer to where I want to be tomorrow? What habits do I keep? What routines do I live by? Because small disciplines repeated over time lead to big results. But you've got to be deliberate. If you wake up and just go with the flow, you're letting chance decide your destiny. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather be in charge of where my life is heading. You know, successful people have a different relationship with time. They don't waste it, they don't disrespect it, and they don't give it away to just anything or anyone. If something doesn't serve their purpose, they walk away from it. They understand that saying yes to something unimportant is the same as saying no to something valuable. And the truth is, most people are just one or two small decisions away from a completely different life. One of those decisions is learning to say no more often. Not out of selfishness, but out of purpose. When you begin to value your time, you raise your standards. You don't allow just anything to enter your day. You start to notice who drains your energy, what activities waste your potential, and how much of your life has been spent in distraction. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the beginning of wisdom. That's the spark that changes everything. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just start with 1 hour. One powerful, focused hour each day invested in something meaningful. Your goals, your health, your mindset. You do that and you'll be shocked at how quickly your life begins to shift. Because time compounds, just like money. You start stacking quality hours, and pretty soon you've got a quality life. So don't just count the hours, make the hours count. It's amazing what happens when you finally realize that small decisions, made consistently, shape the entire direction of your life. And one of those decisions is choosing to listen to advice that can truly shift your perspective. Not just any advice, life-changing advice. The kind that sticks with you, the kind that makes you pause, reflect, and say, "Why didn't I hear this sooner?" That's what separates people who grow from those who stay stuck. The willingness to hear something new and act on it. See, most people aren't lacking information. We live in the information age. It's everywhere. You can search, scroll, swipe through thousands of tips and quotes. But it's not about how much you hear. It's about what you absorb, what you truly understand, and what you apply. Because life doesn't change just because you heard something inspirational. Life changes when you live by that wisdom. That's the difference. One is entertainment. The other is transformation. You've probably heard this phrase before. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Simple words, but inside that idea is a philosophy for life. When you stop wishing for comfort and start growing in character, everything changes. You stop complaining about circumstances and start working on your responses. That shift, right, there is life-changing, Because life isn't going to hand you success. It's going to offer you opportunities wrapped in challenges, disguised in hard work, and tested through your discipline. And the sooner you understand that, the faster you grow. Now, I don't say that to make things sound heavy or difficult. I say it because I want you to feel empowered. If your life is going to change, it won't be because someone handed you a better life. It'll be because you became a better version of you. It'll be because you stopped blaming time, blaming people, blaming the past, and started taking full responsibility for your future. That's when the breakthrough begins. Let me tell you, people spend years looking for the secret to success and often overlook the simple truths. One of those truths is this: what you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally. If you're inconsistent, you'll always be starting over. If you're consistent, you'll always be building. That's advice worth holding on to. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it's powerful. You don't need more motivation, you need stronger habits, and that begins with a choice, repeated over time. And here's something else. People talk about goals all the time. I want to be rich, I want to be fit, I want to be successful. But those are outcomes, they're not plans. Life-changing advice says, don't just set a goal, build a system. Create an environment where success is the natural result of your actions. If you build a routine that supports your values, success becomes predictable. If you don't, it becomes a gamble. And I don't want your future to depend on luck. I want it to depend on your mindset, your discipline, and your daily decisions. You don't have to take giant steps every day. Some days you just take small steps, but you do it with intention. You write the page, you make the call, you study the book, you say no to the wrong things and yes to the right ones. Over time, those small steps turn into something unstoppable. That's how real success is built, quietly, steadily, and with a foundation rooted in wisdom. So when you hear advice that resonates, don't just nod your head. Don't just save it to a folder or post it on your wall. Live it. Let it get into your actions. Let it guide your choices. Because applied wisdom is power. And power, when directed with purpose, changes everything. The right advice won't just make you think, it will make you move. You know, there's a powerful shift that happens when you stop chasing time and start managing it with purpose. Because most people don't really run out of time. They just waste a lot of it. Not intentionally, of course. It's not like someone wakes up and says, "Today I think I'll throw my potential away." But that's exactly what happens when you go through your days without direction. It's easy to stay busy. It's easy to confuse motion with progress. But the real question is, are you doing what actually matters? Success doesn't come from filling your schedule. It comes from filling your schedule with the right things. The high-value activities, the ones that actually move the needle. But you've got to be clear about what those things are. Because if you don't define them, someone else will. And that's the trap most people fall into. They say yes to every request, every invitation, every distraction. They give away their time like it's endless, like there's always going to be more, and then one day, they look back and wonder why they're still in the same place. Let me tell you, one of the best things you can do for your future is to protect your time like it's gold, because it is. And the way you treat your time is the way the world will treat your priorities. If you show up late to your own goals, if you put off what matters for what's convenient, you send a message, not just to the world, but to yourself, that your dreams can wait. And dreams don't wait forever, they fade. They slip away quietly while you're scrolling, while you're saying, maybe tomorrow, while you're keeping yourself busy with things that don't build you. Now, there's a myth that successful people have more time. They don't. They just spend it differently. They've trained themselves to separate what's urgent from what's important. That's a skill. It takes discipline to pause and ask, is this helping me grow? Is this aligned with my values? Or is this just noise? Because not all movement is progress, and not all activity is productivity. You've got to be able to cut through the clutter. And I'll tell you something else. If you really want to spend your time wisely, you've got to learn the power of focus, not multitasking, not scattering your energy across 10 different things. Focus. Single-minded, undistracted effort. Because when you give your full attention to something meaningful, you get results that are multiplied. 1 hour of deep, focused work is worth 10 hours of distracted motion. And that applies to everything. Your business, your health, your relationships, your personal growth. But here's the truth that not many talk about. Spending your time wisely isn't always exciting. It's not always glamorous. It often means saying no to short-term pleasure so you can say yes to long-term fulfillment. It means turning off the noise. It means waking up earlier, showing up consistently, and being okay with the fact that your best days might look boring to the outside world. But inside, that's where the magic's happening. That's where you're building something real. And it's not about perfection. It's not about getting it right every single day. It's about living with intention, about knowing that your time is limited, and because of that, you choose to spend it on things that matter, on growth, on service, on purpose. You learn to let go of what drains you and double down on what builds you. You stop surviving the day and you start designing your life. So if you want to succeed, don't just watch the clock. Use it. There's a simple truth that often gets overlooked in the rush to achieve success. The people who get there aren't necessarily those with the most talent or the most resources. They're the ones with the best habits. Habits shape your days and your days shape your life. It's the small choices you make every single day that add up, not the big flashy moves you hope to pull off once in a while. If you want to spend your time wisely and create lasting success, it's time to look closely at your habits. Think about it like this. Your habits are like a compass. They point you in a certain direction, whether you're paying attention or not. The problem is, many people don't realize this. They let habits form around comfort, distraction, or convenience, rather than purpose. Before long, they find themselves stuck in patterns that don't serve them, and breaking out of those patterns takes more than motivation. It takes commitment. It takes discipline. It takes understanding that every moment you spend doing something is a vote for the kind of life you want to live. Now, here's the good news. Habits aren't set in stone. They can be changed. You can choose to build habits that support your goals, that push you closer to success rather than away from it. But the process requires patience. It requires starting small, because no one wakes up one day and instantly becomes the person they want to be. It's the tiny actions, the repeated disciplines, that create the foundation for transformation. Imagine this. What if instead of telling yourself, "I don't have time," you started telling yourself, "I make time for what's important"? That shift in mindset changes everything. When you say, "I make time," you take control. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the architect of your life. And that's a habit worth cultivating. It's a habit that leads to confidence, focus, and ultimately success. And habits aren't just about what you do. They're about who you spend your time with. The people around you have a powerful influence on your habits, your mindset, and your future. Surround yourself with those who inspire you to grow, who challenge you to be better, who hold you accountable to your goals. If you spend your time with the wrong crowd, your habits will reflect that. If you spend your time with the right crowd, you'll find your habits improving without even thinking about it. The key is awareness. Take a look at your daily routines and ask yourself, are these habits helping me, or are they holding me back? If they're not serving your vision, then it's time to change. And changing habits starts with replacing old behaviors with new, better ones. It's not about willpower alone. It's about designing your environment and your routines to support the person you want to become. For example, if you want to be successful, start with something simple, like managing your mornings. How you begin your day often determines the tone for everything that follows. Do you scroll endlessly through your phone, or do you spend that time planning, reading, or preparing? That small habit can transform your productivity and your mindset over time. If you want to build discipline, then create rituals that support it. A workout routine, a set time to study or work, or a moment for reflection and gratitude. These aren't just tasks, they're investments in your future. Remember, it's easy to underestimate the power of habits because they happen quietly. They don't shout or demand attention, but day by day, habit by habit, they shape your reality. And when you focus on building good habits, you're essentially building a life that supports your success, no matter what challenges come your way. So don't overlook the power of habits. Guard your time, by cultivating routines that bring out your best self. Because the life you want is waiting for you on the other side of your daily choices.